Hey everybody, Jake here, and today we are checking out an interview that Nintendo just released and asked the developer all about The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which includes a nod to the Imprisoning War, a key event that fans may recognize from what's called the Fallen timeline. Now, normally I would hit the highlights. I'd get in and out of this video as fast as possible, but I figure we're all out here waiting for this video game to release this weekend. We are only a few days away. Maybe you're trying to kill some time. I know I am. So let's hang out together. Let's check out this interview, but let's take our time. Let's just wade through it here. Okay. Now, what's released today are only parts 1 and 2 of this Ask the Developer interview, with part 3 promised to be coming tomorrow, so maybe you'll see me again. But in the first part here, we're primarily concerned with introducing all of the people we are interviewing. We, of course, have Onuma, the producer of the series. We have Fuji Bayashi, who is the director of the game, Dota, the technical director, Takizawa, the art director, and Wakai, the sound director. So a lot of like cross-discipline sources for this interview here, so you get a bunch of different angles on how things are developed. But they start off by talking about Tears of the Kingdom being a direct sequel to Breath of the Wild. And it's funny, like being in games and being interested in games, I feel like I see a version of this interview a lot. You know what I mean? We're doing a sequel and they're like, hey, was it always the plan to use the same setting? And all of the developers straight-faced are like, it was always the plan. No one questioned it, nobody had second thoughts, and nobody was surprised. And just realistically, I'm sure somebody was surprised. I'm sure somebody was like, maybe not. But I guess this is what you gotta say. I don't know. So they speak with some conviction here. But I think the thing that really catches my eye in this first section, a lot of it is saying stuff about kind of the Zelda franchise that you might be able to guess on your own. But the thing that I thought was most interesting that I'd like to highlight for you all is that Fujibayashi says, we put in some effort to make sure that it feels comfortable for both first-time players and those with experience of the previous game. So literally Breath of the Wild, they're talking about that weird person that in the past 6 years of the Nintendo Switch has not picked up Breath of the Wild and is like, maybe like, you know what? Tears of the Kingdom, baby. I'm jumping in. So, for example, he continues, we've prepared a character profile feature that players can see anytime during their adventure. So it's easy to understand the relationship between characters even without knowledge from the previous title. Okay. So Fujibayashi here, he's kind of framing this as a thing that would be helpful to people that don't already know this information. But to me, what this actually indicates is a focus and interest and engagement with characters in a way that, like, I'm just not 100% sure that engagement, that attention to the characters was really, or story in general, was really there in Breath of the Wild. There seems to be a renewed focus, I think, and interest in narrative elements in Tears of the Kingdom in a way that Breath of the Wild wasn't offering. Still, you know, story, not trying to criticize the story of Breath of the Wild here, obviously, but I do think that there is, on the development end, a renewed interest in what can we do with the story of a Zelda game in Tears of the Kingdom. And I think having character profiles, you being able to revisit what a character's given circumstances are at any moment, to me that says that those given circumstances, those characters are going to be important and they want you to understand those things. So that's something. All right, moving on to part 2 of this interview. It's all about hands, baby. We're talking all about the importance of literal hands and how that's like a reoccurring motif in the game, alongside the symbolic idea of hands as kind of like a point of connection in terms of linking ideas and people together. So there's not a ton that you can really suss out from the interview here, but I like how Dota kind of synthesizes this idea. He says, the previous game was a relatively lonesome game, or rather an endurance game, where you made full use of Link's body and strength alone to traverse the vast world. What's unique this time is joining hands and cooperating with various characters, and at times creating items with Link's own hands and utilizing them as you progress. So already right there, I feel like you're seeing what I'm saying. With this renewed focus on story, on characters, you've got this very lonesome game, Breath of the Wild, and then now Tears of the Kingdom, we're saying we're doing we're doing something totally different. But the big thing here, the big thing in this part, in the second part of this interview, I teased it at the start. Now we're gonna get into it. When talking about the hands theme, Onuma says, well, simply put, hands expresses the idea of connecting. This applies to the story too, which connects to Hyrule's past. It also talks about a major struggle called the Imprisoning War, which until now was considered a myth even in Hyrule. The Imprisoning War. I've consulted Zelda wikis and I texted Triss about this while I was making this video. So first off, for the uninitiated, the Imprisoning War, as I understand it, is the conflict described in the backstory for A Link to the Past, in which it's like the 7 wise men. It's all about these 7 people placing a seal on the sacred realm to trap Ganon inside of it. I was pretty sure this being brought up in this interview was an important detail, so I hit up Triss. Triss agrees. Here's what they told me about why this is important. The Imprisoning War only takes place in the Fallen timeline, when Link loses to Ganondorf in Ocarina of Time. So that could potentially place this game in that timeline, maybe even after Link to the Past, Link Between Worlds, the original games, and more. Okay, thank you, Triss. I'd even like to add that naming this event, talking about it directly, etc., seems pretty, I'm gonna call this timeline concerned. Timeline concerned or involved in a way that I don't think Breath of the Wild was concerned or involved like at all. Breath of the Wild, I thought, was a Zelda game that was almost trying to distance itself from the whole timeline narrative to begin with. So again, a bit of a nod here. More story focused, more interested in story this time around, and possibly even a nod that we're going to be going into like Ganon's backstory, or maybe it has to do with that tapestry that we see in Breath of the Wild. I've been waiting with that ancient hero. I've been waiting for that to come back, but I don't know. So that's pretty much all the juice I have for you when it comes to this interview. It's definitely worth a full read, so I will of course link to it in the description below if you want to read the whole thing. But I promised today that we were going to spend time together. Let me know if you like this kind of let me know if you like this style of video. But to wrap things up on my end, I'm gonna fulfill my promise all the way. Because friends and fans, as I was working on this video, I discovered that a brand new commercial for Tears of the Kingdom was uploaded to Nintendo's Australian YouTube channel for some reason. I don't know. But I thought it would be fun to end this video. What if we just watched it right now? Let's just watch it, dude. All right, here we go. Rediscover your sense of adventure with The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. Let's do it. All right. Is the bus a big thing in Australia? Are people hitting the bus? That was a lot of like business people on that bus, you know what I mean? Maybe it was just a shuttle. Ooh, comes home, long day of work. Just got home. Wife's going to bed? Oh, because she knows. She knows it's gaming time, baby. After a long day, just wants to explore a sweet high. Oh God, he's so happy. I got that tree branch. Ooh, I love this man. A true pioneer.
Oh, come on.
He's thinking. He's using his noggin, dude.
Let's try this.
It's funny, there was a point in history where people had to do this like for real, you know? Ooh, the music.
Go. Oh. Yes.
That was a cool shot, actually. That was cool.
Wow.
Dude, I love this guy
Nintendo
chewing the
Switch.
scenery.
Play, connect.
Dude, that kind of ruled. It's kind of like a wholesome. This is our wholesome end to this video, dude. I love this guy. This guy's just like, I'm working the grind. I'm feeling the thumb of like my capitalism job, you know what I mean? But it's all worth it because I can go home, play the new Zelda game. You know what? I don't care if the other business people on this shuttle judge me. I'm taking it on the bus using the Nintendo Switch. That's going to do it. Thank you everybody for hanging out. I hope you liked this video. I know it was weird. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.